Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio with our Positively Pipeman segment featuring Michael Barbarita from Powerful Business Strategies and Next Steps CFO. How are you, Michael?
Excellent. How are you, Dane?
I'm doing great. And
good.
I'll tell you what you're going to talk about today couldn't be more appropriate right now because, okay, you're going to talk about increased prices, and that is happening everywhere.
Yes.
So let's talk about it.
But unfortunately, my clients, at least in the experiences I have, they have a fear relative to increasing prices.
Me too.
And there's a fear. And but what the data shows is that customers who focus solely on price often require more time and attention. They're the loudest in demanding value versus those who do not rely on price necessarily, right? Those are the ones that should be entitled to the best treatment. And when you do give them the best treatment, they tend to have fewer complaints and are easy to deal with. So that's like the baseline that I'd like to present relative to increased prices. The other thing that is interesting is that when clients of mine make small incremental price increases every quarter or so over time, they do a couple of things. Number one, it gives them it allows them to increase prices eventually where they should be. Number one, but number two, it also gives them time to increase the value of what they're offering to justify these price increases. But when they happen small and incrementally, they hardly get noticed. So, but the reason why business owners fear price increase is because the business owner's perception is that there's no discernible difference between the value that they bring and the value their competitors bring. So in other words, they don't think that they think that it's only about price. And so therefore, if I increase my prices, I'm going to lose customers. That's what they think. Now, one of the tools that we have at Next Step CFO is we can show you that how many customers you can afford to lose. You give us the price increase that you plan on having. We can show you how many customers you can afford to lose and still make the same profit that you did before you had the price increase. So that is usually very convincing to customers, to clients, to actually increase their prices, because what they find out most of the time is they can lose 10 to 15% of their customer base, which they don't think would happen in a million years, and still make the same amount of money that they did before the price increase. And the other fear that the business owner has is the business owner uses their own financial position, their own wallet, as a benchmark for determining what a consumer can afford. And that is totally bad practice.
Totally. And I'll add to that too, because business owners tend to also, speaking of their own wallet, if they don't increase prices, they take money out of their wallet to pay the increased expenses they have.
That's right. That's right. I have clients that fear it so much, and things like insurance are going up, and every other expense you could think of is increasing, and they're still hesitant. And despite the fact that I show them they could lose, in one case, I showed a client how he could lose 20% of his current customer base and still make the same amount of money that he's making now that he made before the price increase. Still won't do it. So that fear, that perception that there's no discernible difference. And I have some clients that have clear discernible differences why they're better, yet they still are hesitant to increase price. And they use their own wallet. They use their own wallet to determine, I don't think I could afford it, so therefore I'm not going to charge that price. Yeah. So it's just, so it's really, and when it comes right down to it, it's really not about price. It's about the value that you're delivering versus your competitors. And if you really don't believe that you offer more value than your competitors, I'm wondering why you're in business.
Right. And I'll also say that, like, if your customers perceive value and they see that prices are increasing everywhere, yeah, they may not like the price increase, but it's not going to make them stop doing business with you if they still see the
Yes,
value.
that's right. And here's the thing. Here's a rule of thumb that I use with clients. I say, I ask what your closing rate is. And if your closing rate is between 25 and 33%, I think you're priced right. If your closing rate is below is higher than 33%, your prices are too low. And that's a benchmark that I use when I'm talking to clients. They're pounding their chest because their closing rate is so high. But the reason why their closing rate is so high is their prices are too low.
Right.
And so if you can fall between that 25 and 33% closing rate, you're probably priced correctly. And if you're below that, you're probably priced too high.
And think about all those companies in history that didn't raise prices. They kept the prices super low. Okay. They're not in business today. Right. But their closing rate was very high because people were buying from them because it was so cheap.
That's right. That's right. And, here's something that adds value that actually Japanese auto dealerships do. What they do is they provide potential customers when they come in with a small drink menu on a laminated card. And there's no big cost to that. They probably have 4 or 5 variety of drinks from kind of soft drinks and water and that kind of stuff. But what if your bank did this for you? What if a spa did it? What if a doctor in a waiting room did it? What if a hair salon did it? These are just different small little things that add value at a low cost.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just saying, it's just common sense. You own a business, your prices are increased. You have to increase your prices to a customer to stay in business and flourish, and yes, there's some people that aren't going to understand that. There's some people that aren't going to like it, but you're always going to have people fall off. And I want to put it that way. It's kind of like the band that they start getting commercial. They're no longer a garage band, and their followers, their small group of followers in the underground are going to be like, oh, I'm not going to listen to them anymore. They sold out, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you lost like 25 people and gained 2 million.
That's right.
Think of that.
That's right. And, it goes back to what I said at the very beginning. When you increase prices, you get rid of the pain in the necks, right?
Yes.
Customers are focused on price and all those pain in the neck customers that are demanding more value from you at a lower price.
Oh, I just had that recently. Okay, I have somebody that negotiates with me every single time, and I'm just like, no, because it's always the ones that want you to give them the most that want you to charge the least.
Right. That's right. For whatever reason, I don't know the reason. It's a law of nature of some sort, but that's exactly what happens.
It's true in every business. When I was in the financial business, the people that sent me 5,000 would call 50 times a day. The people that sent me 1 million never called me. And if I called them, I was annoying them. Just do whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
And the reason I bring up that example is because there is an answer of why they do it. It's because the people that spend the least, that money means the most to them. The money carries way more value than the person that spends the most with you.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, I find that, I find that there's just tremendous resistance from my clients to increase prices. And when they do, they're breathing a sigh of relief because they see the benefits on the P&L. I mean, it's just a simple strategy that can be employed. But I want to stress the fact that as you incrementally increase prices, nice and small incremental increases, always figure out ways to add more value. And if you do that, you'll be way ahead of the game. And the price increases will be hardly noticed. And if they are noticed, they'll be justified with more value.
It could be small too, like whatever you offer them could be a small thing, not a big deal, And the fact of the matter is, nobody likes paying higher prices, but after a while, it becomes the norm. Like, how many of us at our generation, the norm for a gallon of gas was 85 cents. And now when it goes under $3, we're like, oh my God, what a bargain.
Yeah. Customer psychology.
Totally.
Yeah. So just a couple of questions that a business owner should ask themselves is, what can I do better this month to make customers feel more appreciated? Because this is part of that adding more value stuff. And it makes it easier when a business owner adds more value, it makes it easier for them to make the decision to increase price.
Yeah.
So that's a good question that people should be asking themselves as they're going through this process and making small incremental price increases over time.
My example of that is what I do is because I give human customer service instead of AI. So like to me, that's a lot of value. To me, that's a lot of value because no matter what company I call, if I'm dealing with AI or I'm dealing with somebody that doesn't understand what I'm looking for and they're just reading a script, like I lose my mind, man. But if I can talk to a human being, and usually the human being will make me feel good.
Yeah. So what I'd like to offer the audience too, if they're so inclined, is I have a workbook that I have called Increased Prices, and it's an actual step-by-step workbook of how to get over the psychology of increasing prices, as well as the strategies used to add more value, and some of the concepts that we talked about today. And if they would like that, they could just go to my website, nextstepcfo.net, and then go to the contact page and put in workbook on increased prices. After they fill out the contact form in the message box, just put workbook on increased prices, and I'll send it to them. Free of charge.
Nice. I love it. So thank you so much. You give us such great insight for businesses, and I think people need it more than ever right now because
they really do.
Of a lot of reasons. Pricing, technology, changes, evolution. Or, if you're a business right now, opposed to 50 years ago, you can't afford to snooze for even a day. Okay.
Right. That's right.
Like you have to be on top of it. What you're going to do to provide more value and to be able to sustain profitability. Like, listen, everybody would love to say like they bought something at cost, but companies can't survive that way. Okay. So you have to be the type of mentality that's like, you're okay with the business making a profit, but as long as that value that you're getting is worth that profit. So thanks for all this great advice. Everybody increase your prices and increase your value and pay attention, Michael Barbarita, and check out Next Step CFO. And you too could not only get this workbook, but could get help in your business to grow. So thanks once again. We'll see you next week on the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you, Dean. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.